Every day I'm hustling, 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 hustling. Every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling.
Where were you? Were you looking for me? I had a feeling.
I was going to say, hey, I was just looking for you, but I suppose that's no good now. She isn't even finished with her sentence before she blows past me, heading for the exit. I have to admit, Misha is infuriatingly sharper than I expected. Also, surprisingly fast. She's a ninja, boy! She's a ninja! She's a pink drilled ninja. Although it's more physical activity than I think I should be getting, I managed to catch up with her halfway to the gate. You're really being the rudest woman in the world right now. You can just stop trying to run away. Can you stop trying to run away for 1 second? I want to talk to you. Damn, this is a situation. Misha turns on her heel, looking mildly amused, and raises her hand as if she's telling me to go on. Now that I've got her attention, though, it's hard to think of It's hard to think of the right thing to say. Where are you going now?
The Shanghai. The Shanghai.
There we go. Can I go with you then? Waiting for her answer feels like an eternity. It's almost as if I can hear my wristwatch ticking off the individual seconds.
Okay then, Hee-chan.
I get the sense that she only agreed because she doesn't want to argue anymore today. Hey, McLaren. When we get there, a couple comes in after us, causing Misha to jump slightly at the noise. Seeing that it isn't Suzune, she relaxes again, smiling almost as usual to order a parfait from Yuko, and sliding into the nearest booth. You ran off too fast. You could have at least waited to see what she was going to say. Misha's angry reaction tells me it could be that she was afraid of what Suzune might say.
Why are you both doing this, Hee-chan?
Because Suzune still wants to be your friend. I guess that for her it's kind of like launching a nuclear missile from the submarine. You need 2 keys to do it. That is a weird simile. Comparison. I'm just gonna say it as a comparison. What else can she do, though? She isn't automatically signing whatever she hears or says anymore. And I'm sure that is the reason Suzune's been having so much trouble with her. If she tried to just talk it over, you wouldn't listen. Misha's guilty expression tells me I've hit the mark. Do you really hate Suzune that much?
No, Hee-chan, I told you that.
She answers without even flinching, idly playing with a spoon. Yeah, I know. I'm sure she knows it too. But I'm wondering if it might be easier if you did. Wait, I'm wondering if it might be easier if you did. Yeah, I know. The only thing she really thought about for the last week is how to make you happy. Since Suzune is still attached to you. Yesterday, though, she thought that maybe it would be it'd be easiest for you if you just hated her. Since you didn't tell her you hate her, Suzune thinks that you can both still be friends. She's like that, only thinking in extremes. Her parfait is starting to melt. The ingredients coming together in tiny rivers that remind me of the growing roots of a tree being shown through the time-lapse photography.
That stupid He-chan isn't that stupid, He-chan. Don't be ridiculous.
It's got nothing to do with intelligence. Smart people can do stupid things. Anyway, isn't it true? I was terrified last week when we talked, but at the end, I was relieved because it sounded like things might go back to normal. I wasn't expecting you two to have a fight right after.
It wasn't a fight, He-chan. It was just me yelling at her.
I've noticed that Misha's voice never really changes in tone, just volume. It's so low with guilt that I can hardly believe it came from her. Either way, I was happy, because I thought you and her could still be friends, since she needs you.
No, she doesn't, He-chan.
So how do you know that? There's a lot of things Suzune doesn't vocalize, say, talk about. I'm afraid if I say the wrong thing, it'll ruin the mood. I get to finally have a conversation with her and don't want to screw it up. I wonder if this is the first time she had an honest conversation with me. Just because she didn't tell you doesn't mean she doesn't like you.
That makes no sense.
Yes, it does. Otherwise, she would argue back.
Wahaha!
Why waha at this? You don't think so? She picks fights with everyone, so why don't you? Obviously because you're her friend, and she values you. And Suzune is hurt too. She's just awfully at showing her feelings. Usually does it the wrong way too, but she still likes you.
She's friendship. He-chan, do you remember when I said I didn't want to hate He-chan or upset her? The truth is, I ended up doing both. Now it's like there's like an awkwardness between us. It's hard to explain.
Both of you are so stubborn. You were talking about how you didn't want to drift apart from Suzune, but then you're going to let it happen. And Suzune is just as bad. She wants to be your friend, but respects you too much to be aggressive as she'd be with anyone else. Fucking damn it, Hassel, you finally going all out, man. You finally doing the talk. The good talk. Talky talk. And I'm sure that Misha interprets Suzune giving her space as a lack of caring.
I screwed up already, He-chan. It'll happen again, I'm sure. When I think about it that way, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. It feels like either way, I'll end up making things worse. Then it might be better if I didn't do anything at all.
Don't be ridiculous. Why would you even think that way in the first place? Be more positive. It should be easy for you. I want to say, but that would be presumptuous.
He-chan, I never knew you were so optimistic. I never expected it.
Ellipses.
You always act so gloomy when I try to surprise you.
No. This is a recent thing, really. I just hate it when people give up so easily. No.
Now, huh?
It makes me mad when people give up. I used to think that giving up was kind of like running away, since that's how people always describe it. But now that I think about it, it's usually more like throwing something away. When you run away from something, you can think of it as still being there. So I was in the hospital, and I didn't just want to run away from my problems. I wanted to never think about them again. Misha eats a spoonful of her gray ice cream goo. Did she only just remember it was there now? Or could it be she likes it that way? Anyway, my point is, you can't do that. People are too sentimental to just throw their memories out like that. It's impossible. Suzune can't think of a life in terms of anything but winning and losing. Don't you think she wishes she didn't have to remember the parts where she loses? You can't pick and choose though. That's like wanting to live in a bubble. The worst part is, your way of thinking is so wasteful. It's making you so pessimistic. You're afraid of everything. Come on. I grab her hand as I waved Yuko over with with the other to pay for our food.
Where are we going now?
Back to school before lunch is over. But I want to check out a few places before then. Although I started to feel tired even after doing what could be described as on the level of a brisk jog at best, Misha and I eventually make it to the gate of the school with a little over 10 minutes to spare. I didn't even want to really come to the school, you know. I didn't have a choice. When I got to this gate, I'm sure part of me was thinking, what a depressing place. It doesn't look depressing at all, though. Well, I still thought I had everything figured out. I felt practically like another person. If I could, I'd go back and tell myself to stop thinking he can write everything off at a glance and act like his life is already over and he can never have fun again. Damn. The school grounds are still littered with quite a few people. It's lunchtime, so it's typical. This is where you and Suzune had me help you put together 2 festivals. What a lot of hard work, I thought. I don't have time for this. When I look back on it, though, I didn't do all that much. I also didn't have anything better to do. I'd have just spent the time alone. I drag her to our homeroom next, which is empty except for Matao trying to eat a sandwich before class resumes. Every time I thought of either of you, I wish you would have leave me alone, whether it was here or leaving Matao to his lunch. We head for the nearby vending machine, and I grab a soda while I still have 5 minutes to drink it, and I've spent an entire lunch period with Misha longer than both Suzune and I have managed to talk to her in these days. Following me to the cafeteria or trying to corner me after my half classes. I never realized we only talked for like 4 times. It really was all in my head. I only barely realized it now.
I remember that, Hee-chan, but I know where all these places are too.
Wait, let me finish my guided tour, since we're running out of time. But, by the way, do you want a soda? Making our way to the stairwell, I'm glad that I don't have to pull her by the hand anymore. You get dizzy on stairs, right?
Yeah.
I guess that's just a good, I guess just here is good enough then. I lean against the wall as Misha sits down on the steps across from me. It just kinda... Does Misha have vertigo by any chance? Meh. Do you ever miss the people you went to school with in elementary school or middle school?
No.
That was fast. She didn't even have to think about it. I found myself cringing, reflectively. I had more friends in my old school, but I don't talk to them anymore. It almost feels like that was another lifetime ago, which is sad, really. Sometimes I want to talk to them again, but I know I can't. I'm scared and embarrassed. Another thing like, things like that. Oh God. They're too far away for me to see them. Then I think about calling them, but I don't know most of their numbers. And I left on a sour note. So why would they want to see me again? The hair. It feels like I should just forget about it, but I still think about it anyway, and regret that I didn't try harder to stay in touch somehow. I start to think that maybe feeling like I should forget about it was wrong. It would be an insult to all of those people I had fun with, and waste of time, waste all of the good times. Like I said before, even if there are some bad times too, it's all right if you can look back on them as happy memories. But I didn't even think about it then, so it was like I woke up one day and realized I had no friends. I just let myself lose all my friends. And it felt awful. I'd really hate it if you and Suzune ended up the same way. That's all.
That's all?
It makes me sad to think that you'll do the same thing and push away your friend, especially because you're not far away from Suzune. I mean, you even live in the same dorm. Well, it's because they're both girls, but yeah.
Friend, huh? Aren't you my friend too, Hee-chan?
Yeah. You slept through all of it, but the fireworks were really nice, but way back at the festival. My first time seeing fireworks like that, and my first time really seeing the sky in a while. And I'd never really looked at the stars before then, either. I had thumbed through a book about them while I was in the hospital, though, and learned a lot. Like, that stars aren't just burning, they are, but more like a constant chain of explosions, so far away that some of the stars I'd be seeing would have been burnt out for thousands of years already. And it's that their light would only just then be reaching Earth. I saw a mock-up comparing the size of the planet to our sun, and then that to other suns. Japan wasn't even visible on a tiny Earth in that book.